So you had so much energy. I'm kind of repeating this for the tape, partly. You had so much energy going through you that it was just too much, and after 4 months. And part of what you were feeling is all that energy trying to push through these nadis. You know, when you're, by the way, I meant to say this when I was describing that, when you're sitting there meditating and you have these twitches, has everybody had that happen? Those are called kriya in Buddhist and Hindu terminology. And what they say is happening at that time is that energy is pushing through those nadis and it comes to some kind of a blockage. And as it pushes through that blockage, you have a twitch. Now, kriya also includes those times where you see a flash of light, or you hear a certain sound, or kriya really means movement. And so just sort of almost any little incident that happens. Another one that happens is suddenly you'll feel a little pain, just in one little spot, you know, a little pain in your leg, or a little pain in your cheek, and it's just there for a couple minutes or something, or a few seconds even. And then it goes away. And this thing of feeling all this energy is really, all this stuff is trying to push through these nadis, and it's slow going, and it's, you know, it's kind of building up, and the pressure of it not being able to move through that, you're feeling that. And this has to do with the whole subject of resistance, which is something I'm going to talk about also. Resistance is mostly unconscious, so it's not something that you have that much control over, and sometimes you just have to kind of move through it. And you probably did the right thing. You know, you just sort of backed off a little bit, let your nervous system catch up, and then you're ready to go again. And so you had a question, Lane?
Doing 4 miles.
Yeah. So the question is, you're at home, running a mile, so to speak, by listening to whatever you're using at home, and then you come to this retreat and suddenly we're doing 4 hours a day of something much more powerful. There's a number of reasons why you can do that here. One is because of the group, and because the people that are already vibrating lower take on a certain amount of the stuff that comes up for the people that would be having too much otherwise. Another reason is that in this setting, you don't have to do anything. You don't have to drive your car, you don't have to go to work, you don't have to answer the phone, you don't have to cook, you don't have to take care of your kids, or whatever it is that you have to do. All you really have to do here is sit here, meditate, listen to me, have, you know, Bev make you do things that you don't want to do very badly, and you know, sit in the spa and walk next door and eat, and you know, it's pretty low expectation for what you have to perform. If you were doing this much at home, you know, you might get in your car and be driving down the street and go, whoa, where am I? What am I doing here? And you know, you might, you know, be a little more susceptible to, you know, driving up the curb or doing something funny. But it's really, we try to, you know, make an environment here where, you know, you don't have to do anything except deal with this stuff. And then the other thing is that we're doing this, some of this stuff we're doing here may seem inconsequential or silly, but it's all designed to help that stuff move through so that it doesn't get, you know, get stuck. So when I tell you to take a walk after lunch, or to please be here at 7 o'clock in the morning to do the stretching with Mariah, the stuff that we're doing there is really designed to allow these channels in the body to stretch and loosen, and to allow that energy to flow so that it doesn't get stuck. And because that's kind of what was happening to you, is that, so for instance, one of the things that you could do would be to do some yoga, you know, at least once a day. Do some yoga stretches. There's an alternate nostril breathing that I teach, and I think it's in one of the support letters, and it's also in the Management of Evolutionary Change book. Things like that can help. A lot of times people, you know, aren't convinced of that kind of stuff until they get in a little bit of distress, and then they try those things. And there's another exercise that I teach in the Management of Evolutionary Change called the cross crawl. Anybody remember that one? And you know, Mariah, you should teach them how to do the cross crawl in the morning. Do you remember exactly how to do it?
Why don't you go through it once?
Okay, I'm not right now, but I will. Let's see. Seems to me there's. Seems to me that I remember how to do it. I just don't particularly want to lie down on the ground and do it right now. Let's see. There's something else that I was going to say in answering your question. I can't think what it is, but it'll come back to me. Anybody else? Barbara?
You mentioned some people are more affected, some people can handle it better and some others perhaps because they're not getting the endorphins. Does this not, can you speak to the endorphins? Because does this not help produce endorphins?
Generally, it does, but then again, sometimes it doesn't. And I don't know why that's the case. Those of you who before doing this meditated in a traditional way, you know, there's some days when you sat down to meditate and you felt real peaceful at the end, and there's some days where you can't get comfortable, and you know, the reason that you settle down and get real peaceful is because the focusing causes the brain to produce certain neurochemicals, and one of the main ones is beta endorphins, and that's what kind of, you know, when you finish the meditation and you're sitting here and you have this feeling like, you know, I could just sit here in this position without moving forever. And it just feels, this is perfect. I don't care if I ever move again. I mean, the reason you feel that way is because of all these endorphins. And for some reason, sometimes the brain just doesn't make as many of them. Why exactly that is, I don't know. I mean, there's probably some very rational reason, but you can process all kinds of stuff if you're all endorphinated because you don't care. But there are times when the brain just doesn't make them, and I don't know why that is, and it seems to happen that way for everybody. Roy?
Endorphins are not only made in the brain, they're also made in the gut. So that when you look at the embryology, the same cells that migrate to form the brain, some of those move down into the gut. So, for example, hunger pangs are a part of the whole endorphin mechanism.
What is?
Hunger pangs.
Hunger pangs. When you're hungry, say, I don't feel well, or I have cramps, or whatever it is, the cell is saying, go and eat, sending a message so that you can settle down.
Endorphins are more than just a natural painkiller, too. When you learn something, your brain rewards you with a burst of endorphins. It's like a conditioned response that teaches people that learning something is beneficial. And there's a whole mechanism with endorphins in the body that rewards you for different life-supporting activities, which is kind of unrelated to meditation, but it's kind of interesting that this whole family of endorphins is very essential to life, and you would not have the motivation to learn just basic things as you're growing up without the endorphins. If there aren't any more, there are more questions. Michael.